Alright, I hope the sound is working. Okay. So basically in this video we're going to talk about all different forms of Celtic inspired hair, as well as hair that was used by more than one group of people. And also the reason for this video is also because there was a YouTuber that said that Norse, Germanic peoples or Celtic peoples, they did not use dreadlocks. And actually the Celts have, and there's archaeological evidence to it. But anyway, I want to talk about braids, I want to talk about short hair, curly hair, all the styles of hair that you could expect from the Iron Age Celts, and sources as well. And in this book, there is spectrums to that type of thing that we're going to recover. And here are my bookmarks. Some things are on the topic, some things are on other topics. Also going to review. Alright, this body is of a man who suffered a violent death. That was found in a peak bog at Lindoshire, England, and that would be his hair right there. Now, when talking about this hair, this is based off of the Celts from the Iron Age. And Ireland also has a hairstyle like this, and it is called a glib, and this resembles the Irish glib. Now, those who have heard of a glib, you may be thinking about the glibs that you've seen written and shown in the medieval period in Ireland. So yes, this style hair would also be a Celtic style hair out of the short hairs. Now the Celts in the Iron Age, they normally had long hair. Celtic style hair, short. This is short and a medium and long, which kind of resembles my hair. It was worn by the King of Gauls, Chief Vercingetorix or Vercingetorix, a noble. The Vernini big cat is chewing this cord. And for those who know of him, he was the King of Gauls from France, who fought against the Romans, and at the end, the war hero ended up having his head chopped off. But this is just one of the images of the great chief of Gaul. And as you can see, that resembles my hair very well. And that's why I look so handsome with it. And when it comes to the Dying Gaul statue, it's a depiction of the Celts in Asia Minor around the late 3rd century BC. Now that we talked about some short hairs that ancient Celts have worn, I'm also going to talk about what people usually see in imagery when it comes to the Celts with short hair. When I watched this video that this lady or YouTuber posted on YouTube, she said that the lime water was supposed to be short spiked hair. And the Celts weren't known for having short spiked hair. So you were indicating that they spiked their hair up with like a gel-like substance from the lime water. When the but I feel like it's a imitation of the Dying Gaul statue, or it could also be based off of that and the writing, and people who came up with the idea just didn't know what they were reading. One thing I can't agree with when it comes to this YouTuber, however, is that there is no written source of the Celts had snakes for hair. That is true. And I know that has been argument on whether or not the Irish had dreadlocks or any Celts in particular. There is no written source from any Roman material or Greek material that talks about Celts having snake for hair. And that is true when it comes to the dreadlock theory, but there is a written source. The written source is from a Greek historian known as Diotozygres, and he talked about how the Gauls was bathing their hair in lime water and pulling it down to the back of the nape. And he also talked about how they were blonde haired and long haired, and their hair was like the hair of Pan, which a lot of historians and scholars they believe that means her hair was wild. It was frigid. It was long. And now we're going to point to archaeological evidence. Now, that account that was written by the Greek historian was in the 1st century BC. This right here is a coin, and it depicts a Celtic chief. So this coin right here depicting a Celtic chief is actually a Roman coin. Romans had a lot of respect for the Celts and made artifacts of them. Well, this is believed to be a depiction of Chief Vercingetorix, and other scholars would just say that it was a Gaulish chief. And this coin dates, by the way, 48 BC to 53 BC. So not only do we have a Greek written source, we also have Roman coins that show a Celtic chieftain with dreads. And like I said earlier, there's also information on dreadlocks in Iberian Peninsula and Portugal. There is evidence in England, which I did not talk about yet, but I'm about to. There's evidence in England, and there's evidence in Wales. And it is believed that the Druids over in the Wales and in ancient Britain had dreads. Now, when it comes to this written material, it was actually sent to me by a university through a dreadlock shop in England. So they sent me this material that comes from a university in Wales. And we're going to go and take a look at it together. And actually, I'll probably just put the screenshots up so that way you can read them yourself. So not only do we got stories from the medieval period, but the thing is, those stories from the medieval period, when there was still indigenous roots in England and Wales, as well as Christianity. There's evidence from an earlier time period of the Iron Age that shows the same images talked about in those stories. That would mean the ancient Britons and the ancient tribes of Wales to Cornwall would have also had dreads in the Greek and Celtic period, in the times of the Roman and Greek and Celtic period. So now, you might as well ask, is there archaeological proof? Well, here it is. These are coins that are Briton coins. These are Celtic coins that the Britons used in Britain. You can find these Britannic Celtic coins in books such as by Chris Rodd, who is a numismatist, as well as Rainer Pudel, who is also a numismatist, who has published the tribes and Celtic coins of Britain in the Gallo-Roman age. And also it is believed that the Britons actually came from the Gauls, which is talked about over there as well, and the Welsh came from the Cumbric-speaking people that lived in ancient Britain. And what you just read there are from the medieval period. So England, Wales, Cornwall, Scotland, and Ireland all have stories of Phaelachs or Elflocks, of what they would call, would be like dreadlocked hair in horses' manes. Now you're probably wondering, well, what does that have to do with people? Well, they also called it a witch lock. And over there across Europe during the rise of Christianity and Catholicism, those who still practiced old ways or ways of herbal medicine or ways of shamanism or anything that was not Christian was killed and set on fire on a stake, drowned, and other things. So that did not just happen in the US in Salem, like the Salem witch trials. It also happened all across the Europe, as well as having roots from Iberia, and as well as from the Astras, like the Gauls did. And speaking of which, when I brought up earlier that lime water and the use of ash was also used in Spain and Portugal. Those were written by authors such as Miranda Green and Christopher Godson, also in Eduardo Galindamigo. One of the things I want to talk on is when we bring up elf locks, fey locks, and witch locks is because of the coins and because of the history of lime, water, and hair, you would have to say that in the late Bronze period to Iron Age period, that it would have been intentional for the horse's mane to have dread-like mane hair. Now we're going to look at braids. I'm going to show you braided hair from somebody from Scotland. So this is based off of Ireland and Scotland style braided hair. These type of braids could also be found amongst the Germanic tribes too, Scandinavia, all across Europe. These type of braids can also be found in Egypt, India, and Africa. So these style braids are more than one culture. This video is not to appropriate hair culture into just one group of people. And this is a type of French braid which could be found in ancient France as well as in Belgium, Luxembourg. It could also be found in Africa. It could be found as far back as Greece. This hairstyle could also be found in Egypt, India, Siberia, Siberian culture. The Native American culture, which is from Siberian culture, has this style hair. So it made its way all the way to the Americas as well. These French braid style braids are also unisex braids, by the way, not just one gender. And these style right here is inspired by Irish mythology, which would be spread from Ireland to Scotland to Isle of Man. And it's a depiction that it's inspired by a depiction from the Ten Bull Cunliffe. And this is an Iron Age mummy that was found in a bog in Germany. It's dated to the BC period. It is believed to be Gaulish and or Germanic and Bavarian, which is a Germanic tribe. It was described by Tacitus in his Journeys into Gaul. From the Celtic mummies that were found in Shanghai, China. From 800 BCE. Now, I don't know if this is culture specific or not, but it could be used by Scandinavians, it could be used by Germanic tribes and Celts. Yet again, it is impossible to find braids that are pretty much just culture specific. But anyway, this dates to 280 BC. This hairstyle, known as the French braid, is also called the French plait, and it could also be found in Spain. And it could also be found in regions such as Germany, the UK, and it could also be found in Africa. And also when it comes to ancient history, the Iberians of Spain and Celts of Spain also traveled to Africa. And we could see this Iron Age migration in Morocco. The thing about the fishtail braid, it is found in many cultures and it spread across the globe. It was first documented in ancient Greece. And it is recorded in 280 BC that Celts invaded Thrace and Greece, such as the Gaulish Tribalagos, which is 279 BC. So anywhere between that time frame. He's also a Gaulish leader that raided the Balkans. is by Colate de Valo. Sorry if I pronounced her name wrong. And she's a medievalist, and she was born in Paris. And this style here could be done either naturally or you could do it yourself. It's either natural or done yourself. It could be unisex hair. It's basically just frizzy curly hair that could be found in Scotland, which kind of resembles. And that concludes our Celtic hair video.